Hey all, welcome back to the next video. Today is another exciting one, very exciting for me. I've been waiting for this one for quite some time and preparing for it for quite some time. In today's video, we're going to be doing the single headlight conversion to the Triumph. So that entails taking the original headlights off, the clock off, removing this bracket that's mounted to the frame here, and then reinstalling it with the customized brackets that we've made onto the forks themselves. There's a bit of wiring that I need to do because the headlight plug is different, and then the clocks themselves are going up under the ignition here. So there's a bit to do, so let's jump right in and get started. Sneak peek. As you guys have seen me strip the tank off this bike multiple times, I'm not going to record stripping the tank because that's just wasting your time. Now that the tank is off, I can disconnect the ECU again, take the harness or the relays and that off the top of the airbox, disconnect the air or take the airbox off the top of the airbox, then unbolt the bottom from the throttle bodies. Now that the airbox is stripped, I just got to take these out. Thanks to the viewer in the last video of this bike, engine cutting out, told me that these are called velocity stacks. So just to remove the 6 bolts that hold the velocity stacks in, can take them out, then the airbox can come out. Now that the airbox is out, you can see the indicator connector over there. That's for the right indicator. And then the other one over there, which is the left indicator. And then the headlight connector is this one down here. It's a bit more difficult to see, but you'll see once I take the headlight off. Okay, I've just disconnected the indicators now. Pull the old ones back to here. And then I can actually take the old indicators off. To remove the old indicator, I just got to take this 5mm Allen key and unthread that, and that loosens the whole indicator. I think I need to loosen the whole bracket. I actually remembered I do need to leave this off because I'm going to do my new indicator connections under here as well. So now to remove the other side. To remove the bracket, we've got to loosen these 2 bolts at the bottom of the headlights here. There's 2 cap screws. Then we can take the headlights off. The electrical connection runs down and under to above the radiator. Over here, you can't exactly see that. Then we take the clock off. You pull the black plastic cover off the back of the clocks, unplug it. There's 1 screw holding the clock to the bracket, and then there's plastic push connectors that we can take out. Then we've got to loosen that bolt, and then the other 2 this side. There's a bolt there, and the other bolt is beyond there. And then we can take this entire system off. And then on the back of the clock here, there's just the 7mm screw holding it on there, and to unclip the clock's connector. It's a 6mm Allen key that holds the headlights to its bracket. So just to loosen that. Then I can pull the headlight connections out. Here's the old headlight off. Now that that is loose, or the headlight's off, I can get to these 2 bolts over here. Those are 8mm, and there's a 10mm bolt inside, a 10mm nut inside. So I got to put a spanner underneath, and then I'm able to loosen the 8mm. I loosen the other side. Now this bracket just pulls right out. go. This whole bulky bracket is now out. Now I need to loosen the ignition because my my cluster bracket or clock bracket is going to be mounted in between the top triple tree and the ignition. I'll show you that now. This is just two bolts holding the ignition in. Separately, we took out the shear bolts because it had shear bolts in. So I took my top triple tree off a couple of weeks back and took it to my mate to weld a stud to it so that we could remove the old ones. I'll show you the old ones now. Yeah, with the original sheared ignition bolts, and we just welded a screw onto it behind, and then we managed to turn them out. Only if you are enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Here's all the new parts ready to go on the bike. We've got the new headlight with the ring that we shrunk on. I've done the electrical connection. We've got our fork clamps. Those are the rings that go around the forks, and then that's the bracket that mounts to the top and the bottom clamp, and then mounts onto the side of the headlight. Then I've got my new indicators, which I soldered and sorted out as well. And then I've also got my pre-prepped leads to go in the harness. This is going to go from here by the radiator shroud. It's going to go inside the motorbike over here above the cylinder head, and it's going to join onto these. I'm going to solder onto these connections. So the only plug is actually going to be under there. I've pulled the harness from there in the cylinder head. I've pulled it back so that I can actually work on it. There's the clock connector or clock wiring. This is the hooter which goes down the side, and then this is the two headlight connectors. So I want to pull this insulation tape off so that I can expose the wiring, because I need to join new wires onto here. Okay, so I've got my multimeter now, and I want to test. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I need to test which connection is for which on the. I'm just connected to the throttle body with a negative, because the negative picks up throughout the whole bike. And then I've got the headlight connection here. So I know negative is the far left because that's black. And I've got a second connection over there, which all of the connections are off at the moment. No volts. No volts. If I put the bike has got a park light. So if I go to the park light, let's see if there's power there. No power there. No power there. 12 volts on yellow. So yellow is our park light. If I put the bike to on, then I should pick up power on the headlight, which is low beam. That one over there. No power over there. And then the park light should be on, which is right. And then, so I know that one, I know that one. I don't know that, I know that. So let's go there. And then the bike has a pass for high beam, which is pin number 3. So if I go there and I put onto high beam, I know my connections. So blue and red. Okay, I know my connections. Blue and red is low beam. Blue and white is high beam. And then the yellow is park light. So that I'm going to scrap because I don't have park lights on the new LED. We've got high beam and then low beam and then negative. So that's perfect. These wires that I've cut off now, I'm just going to put a bit of heat shrink over them so that there's no possibility of them shorting out. And then I'm going to slip a bigger piece over all 3 of them so that I know those stay together. Okay, that's now safe and fine. Then this side, I'm going to cut the connections out as well, but I'm going to leave a bit of slack on the wires to put with the other headlight. The yellow one, which is the park light, I'm not going to be using, so I'm going to slip heat shrink over that and put that aside. And then these three connections I'm going to be using. I need to slip one of these little rubber grommets over each of these. And I'm just going to give each one of these a little touch of solder to ensure that they don't deepen. That is the connection done. Then I can pin it. Pin number 1 was negative. Okay, they've all clipped in. Then I can put this front clip in, which locks them in. To test, I'm just going to put the headlight here, plug it in, and then let's turn ignition on. Okay, it works. That is the harness piece then done. This one's not cracked or torn in any places, so I don't need to replace this. Now I can route it back down in the bike. Now that the headlights wiring is done, I can move to doing the indicators. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because the space is quite confined. Let's make sure those are both same length. I'm going to start with those two. So this was left and this was right. Now I can slip the heat shrink over. Now I can harness tape them. I'm going to start with the right one, which is this one over here. Now I can route them. So this one, I'm just going to plug the coil pack back in. Now that one can route under the throttle cable, under the other coil pack, down the cylinder head, and then out the side over here, where it will connect to the new indicator. And then this one, I want to run down here. And that one's out. There, that's all the wiring on the bike done now. Now I can move to installing the fork clamps and the headlight. I need to remove these rubbers from the old bracket and put them into the new bracket. This is the new bracket my mate drew up for me, and we coated it the same coating as we did on the handlebar risers and the headlight ring, which you'll see in a little bit. I've moved the rubbers across from the old bracket to the new bracket now. Now that's ready to install. To help protect my forks from getting scratched, I'm just using some DC Fix or self-adhesive plastic that you use to wrap school books. I've just cut it into smaller slices like that. And then what I'm doing is sticking it on the inside of the fork rings, and that just ensures that there's a sacrificial layer between the fork ring and the fork itself, because I don't want to scratch my fork finish. So all I'm doing, I'm taking it like that, making sure it's dust free and clean. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it can be a little tough, I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling and trimming the rest out with a hobby knife. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough, I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks. And then again, just making sure that the edge is stuck down. And I've done that for the others. So just going to finish up this one, and I'll install them on the back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it around the fork towards the bottom. This is going to take some time to figure out where the headlight's going to sit. So that's the one. Here's the other. And then I've got the bracket. What I'm going to do is I've just got a nylon sort of washer that I'm putting in between the bracket and the clamp. And then there's a lock nut, or nylon washer, lock nut on the inside. There you can see the fork clamp is installed now. There's the nylon washers in between. So now I can install this side, and we can fit the headlight and see. To try and be as accurate as possible and symmetrical, I'm going to use my steel ruler to measure from the top of the bottom triple tree to the bottom of the bottom bracket, which is 50 mils at the moment. So the same now. And then the only other thing is I need to measure center to center to make sure that the clamps are parallel. Center of the one fork to center of the other fork is 200. So I just got to now adjust this and make this the same. Okay, there's 200. Now I can get the headlight and test fit that. When we did the headlight ring, I did these two spaces, which are going to sit on the side like this. So I'm going to put that there just so I can get this first screw in. There you can see the first bit with the headlight installed. Nothing's aligned and tightened up, but that's what it's essentially going to look like. And now that that's done, we can install the cluster bracket. So I'm just going to loosen the ignition over there. I'm going to put the cluster bracket in. And then I can just tighten that up just to hold it there. I'm going to put some locking compound on them, or thread locker. I'm going to go over all of these bolts with some thread locker because I need to make sure that it does not vibrate loose. I'm just going to tighten those to 6 Newton meters so that when they lock, when the thread locker activates, they are tight. While I was working, I just cable tied these cables together just to hold them. So just going to cut it now quick. And then I can sort these cables out. There we go. The clock just clips in like that. That one pushes through. This is a 7mm self-tapping screw that just locks the cluster into the bracket. Doesn't need to be too tight. You can plug the connector back in. Gonna clip the waterproof back around so it's nice and snug. And then the back cover can go on. Just like that. Now my idea for the indicator is to mount it on the side here like that. I do want to do 20mm spaces to just bring it out a little bit, or maybe not 20mm, but spaces to bring it out a little bit. But I haven't received the spaces yet. They're still getting coated at the moment. So I'm going to install it like that for now. I have left the bolt longer to cater for the spaces. Like that. The cabling is going to run behind here like that, down the behind the fork, and then across to here where it will plug in. It's running behind this, the clutch cable. Okay, same thing on the other side. Now I can reassemble, put the tank, the airbox back in, and then fit the rest. Here you can see the original headlight mounting clock mount. It mounts off the front of the frame of the bike. This is the POV while riding. So you can see the sides of the headlights. Okay, not so much the right headlight because of the brake reservoir. But there you go. And then obviously as you turn, that stays stationary. Look at that. I think that looks so much nicer. So much meaner. That is now the point of view, or rider from my rider position, and the advantage now is the clock's turn. So that is a single headlight conversion of my Triumph done. I'm actually very, very happy with the look. I think it looks quite nice. Completely changed, completely different look. It's been I've been working towards this for quite some time, gathering the parts and sorting everything out. So I'm quite chuffed and quite happy. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'm keen to see what you guys think, old or new. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.